Gemini, you are up for the February Love Energy Reading. Before I go any further, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. All right. This is the love reading for February. The general readings are already up for all of the signs. Also, technically, we're still in January as I'm recording this. The general readings, the love readings, and the money readings are up for all of the signs for January. Speaking of money readings, I will work on the February money readings after I finish the February love reading. So those will be coming up more than likely the last weekend of January. All right? Whatever reading you watch or listen to, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it's not your story, don't try to make it fit. I'm just a person sitting here reading energy and tarot cards. You know your story better than I ever could. Now that I said all of that, let's go into the reading. May I have the energy for Gemini for February? May I have the energy for Gemini for February? May I have the energy for Gemini for February? What is it that Gemini needs to hear? What is it that Gemini needs to hear? I'm setting this card to the side. What is it that Gemini needs to hear? Thank you. Right. Thank you. That's interesting. This one came out for Aries. Turn these over now. This commitment card keeps on coming out a lot. And this exact same card for Aries came out too. These two cards. Some of you might have Aries in your chart. You might want to check that out because it says, you moved on and you don't love me. Now, more than likely, you came to that determination because there were commitment issues in the relationship. Let me take a few more cards. Thank you. Because there were communication issues. That's what was going on. There was miscommunication. I feel like, especially if Gemini, you were dealing with, and it doesn't have to be Aries in your chart or Aries you were dealing with. If you were dealing with another sign, if their love language is different because you're an air sign, let's say you were dealing with a water sign, it would be easily understandable, and I just heard Scorpio in my head. It would be easily understandable that there could be a miscommunication because your love languages are different. So with this relationship, that's one thing that played a role. I also feel with the commitment issues, miscommunication was related to that. And someone may have thought something that wasn't the case. And because they were thinking that, they decided to take these actions, and those actions affected the commitment in the relationship. Now, the other card that came out is unresolved issues. Unresolved issues. So for some of you, there's still stuff that is on your chest or on their chest, or maybe both of you have something that you would like to say and do that. Maybe it's unresolved issues because of all the miscommunication. You could never get your thoughts out to each other where you both understand each other. Also, the miscommunication could be that there is an additional party involved in the communication, meaning that you say something to one person, then that one person says something to the person that you're dealing with, when really it could have came from you. So, yeah, it's that type of stuff. But it's saying unresolved issues. Okay, I wasn't looking for 2, but I guess I'm taking them. Changes will be made. And it says pride keeps us apart. So pride is involved as well. 2. Let's take these. Okay, something just said, I pay attention to things when I'm working with the cards. This right here is issue number 1 right now. Unresolved issues. If it's on your spirit, because again, you have free will, you can do what you want to do. If it's on your spirit, it would more than likely benefit you to have a conversation. One-on-one. There's something, even if you talk about the unresolved issues just to get closure, and again, you don't have to get closure by having a conversation. I'm saying where there may be some things that you're wondering about. And I feel like that's the case. Like you're like, okay, why did you do this? Why did you act that way? Those type of things. Or stuff that you didn't get a chance to say. Like, oh, I really didn't like it when. Whatever. One thing, something's telling me to tell you this. If you decide to go that route and you are able to get a conversation with that person, one thing that you may want to do is also bring up the good things that were in the relationship or that are, because some of you might still be together and whatever. But you may want to bring up the good things as well. Don't make it a thing of, oh, well, this, and that I don't like. No. You want to bring up good things too. Because if you're constantly bringing up just the bad things as you're having this conversation, then it's going to make it more adversarial. And I feel like you'll end up antagonizing each other, and then it just won't get anywhere. It's going to fall right back into this where you go off the rails and it's miscommunication again. But the number 1 issue is unresolved issues. Now, let me go ahead and do some clarifiers right quick as well. Also with this, you don't love me. For some of you, it's all in your mind. Is what it is. Again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I'm using my Monera deck. I'm giving you warning. This deck is explicit. So, warning before I start using the deck. Can we clarify the cards on the table for Gemini? Can we clarify the cards on the table for Gemini? Can we clarify the cards on the table for Gemini? What is it? And another problem with the communication, this just came to me as well. It wasn't consistent communication. It was sporadic communication. And some of you may have had an issue. Could be you, Gemini, could be them, could be both. You had an issue where there was communication, but then it just was left as is. And then maybe 3 days later, 4 days later, then there's communication again instead of following up sooner. That could have been an issue too in the relationship. Can we clarify the cards on the table? What is it that Gemini needs to hear? This is a lot, but I'm going to take it. Judgment, death, Scorpio energy, 9 of Swords in the head, 3 of Cups celebration. Now, with judgment and death, this is a double whammy right here. That's definitely the ending of something and the beginning of something new. Now, with the 9 of Swords here, that is somebody being in their head where their thoughts are getting to them. I feel, again, remember when I was saying earlier about for some of you that you don't love me? I feel that it's all in your mind for some of you. This could be that 9 of Swords. Because again, I feel there's a miscommunication where you're thinking one thing and yeah. So 3 of Cups is here, which is 3 of water in this deck. 3 of Cups is here. I feel a conversation needs to be had. That's the strongest thing I'm getting. I feel like once the conversation is had, whether you stay together or whether you don't, there's some type of relief. That is what I'm getting, and that's what I'm titling this. A conversation needs to be had. Let me see if anything else comes out of significance. Anything else for Gemini? Anything else for Gemini before we close this out? Thank you. Okay. What is this? Knight of Wands in the reverse and the Moon in the reverse. So things are being revealed. This person is ready to settle down. You could be dealing with the Sagittarius. Fire energy, Sagittarius, Leo, Aries, Moon, Cancer, and Pisces energy. Something's being revealed. But with it coming out in the reverse, with the Knight of Wands coming out in the reverse, that gives me staying put. Is what that's giving me. Bottom of the deck, 7 of water. So again, there's some confusion. I feel someone would be willing to talk this out and actually have an honest conversation, especially with the Moon reversed. I feel they'd be willing to have an honest conversation. But the energy for me is, all of these cards falling out, a conversation needs to be had. Yeah, 4 of air, a calm conversation needs to be had. You want to do your best not to yell. The Sun. So this is happiness right here. Is the Sun. Also, what else fell out is the 8 of Pentacles. But it fell down in the reverse. I heard in my head, I'm not going to put in the work if you're not going to put in the work. So I won't put in the work if you don't. But also, I will put in the work if you do. That's kind of the energy for that. But again, I think a conversation would really clear a lot of this up. And that's the message. A conversation needs to be had. Bottom of the deck, 4 of water. This is get out of your pride. Because pride, remember, pride keeps us apart. That 4 of Cups energy is that. Pride keeps us apart. Make sure to all parties, not just you, but them too, to check your pride at the door when you have the conversation. All right, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. Podcast carried everywhere. Thank you for supporting it. Until next time, be blessed.